do you live your life? With a positive, I can do anything attitude, or a negative outlook on everything? When faced with life's most difficult challenges, do you give it your all and strive to push forward? Why? What influenced you to do so? Maybe it was your faith, friends, family, or your strong determination to never give up. Virginia LaGalbo has been my inspiration to be the young woman that stands before you today. She was born September 14, 1937 in St. Louis, Missouri. Her mother was a stay-at-home mom, and her dad worked on the railroad, so a very basic, simple family. She had a younger sister and a younger brother who looked up to her and watched her every move and learned from her. She was also an honor roll student. I also came from a small, simple family, no complications, with a little sister who looked up to me. When Virginia was 9 years old, she was faced with her very first challenge. Her parents couldn't afford to send her to Girl Scout camp, and she was very upset and disappointed, but determined to go. She noticed an ad in the local paper that if you could recite 250 Bible verses within 12 weeks and learn them, you got a free week to go to camp. That's not very easy for a 9-year-old. And the Bible, depending on what verses you pick, are very complex. After 12 weeks, 24 verses a week, and with the help with her mom, she managed to recite 250 verses perfectly. I myself, around the same age in 4th grade, was diagnosed with separation anxiety, and it was extremely difficult for me to get through that. I had panic attacks probably every day for at least a month, but I still managed to go forward and go to school. When she got to the camp, before she could get her cabin, she had to recite 50 more verses. They could be the same from the 250 she recited already. And she did it perfectly. The lady asked her, why was she really here? She was only there to have fun. She didn't think anything else of it. The lady asked her if she had accepted Christ into her heart. She had not. So the lady helped her do so, and from that day on, she is a very faithful Christian. Like anybody else, like if you don't believe in heaven, you see her and you see what she does, you question, oh, maybe it really does exist. I too, about the same age in 4th grade, accepted Christ into my heart and started the long road of being a Christian. In her adulthood, she faced a couple other challenges. In the Vietnam War, her husband was overseas and was actually one of the men who was in the trenches and going through the grass and on land and was affected by Agent Orange. Agent Orange was a powerful mixture of chemical defoliants used by U.S. military forces during the Vietnam War to eliminate forest cover for North Vietnamese. The only bad thing was it had negative effects on human beings and caused a lot of deformities, which when she, after the war and they had gone back to Japan, she had 3 children in a row who were born with birth defects and ended up living no more than a month. And that's not exactly easy for any woman to go through and lose 3 children. But she never doubted herself, never doubted God, always believed there was a reason for why things happened, and kept going. That lesson itself has taught me to value life. YOLO. A little later, while she was still in Japan, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. So it was like one thing after another for her. In 1998, she was diagnosed with breast cancer and had to fly back to the States because they didn't have the right equipment in Japan to do the treatment. I would like everybody in the class to count to 19, and when they're done, hold up their finger. You can think I'm crazy, but there's a point. Okay, I'm going to assume all of you guys have. Every 19 seconds, somewhere around the world, a case of breast cancer is diagnosed among women. That's over 200,000 within the U.S. alone, and that's a lot. But eventually, she came back, She was stationed in Arlington, Virginia, or lived there with a couple friends and family members. And with them by her side, she never gave up. She saw the light at the end of the tunnel and eventually was cured of breast cancer. She probably battled it for the same amount of time that I had to endure my mother's manic depression, which I don't know if you guys are aware of what that is, but it's bipolar plus depression on a whole new level, and that was extremely difficult to deal with. I still deal with it this day. Still today, as an adult, despite recently, even though she was separated from her long-term partner, her husband, they're legally separated now, Virginia still goes overseas and does mission groups in third world countries. Recently, she went to the Philippines and went over with a suitcase full of clothes, full of food, anything that she could possibly bring, and came back with an empty suitcase. She's a very giving, loving person and always puts everybody else's needs in front of her. I too do the same, and no matter what she and I are going through, we always make ourselves available for anybody else that needs us. Thanks to Virginia's guidance and influence, I have stayed strong and determined through it all of what life has thrown to me.